Hello, I'm Laura. It's Thursday, June 18th, 2026, and this is what has become a weekly talk about peace for today's Heartlines. Our theme for Heartlines this week is One World, and today we are looking at the EPA of Global Peace Development. I don't know about you, but here in the United States, when I hear the acronym EPA, I think Environmental Protection Agency. And that's what this is in a way, but with a whole different focus. And we'll get to that shortly. First, I would like to share with you the headlines that have inspired today's topic. The G7 summit has been wrapping up in France, and it is a very important coming together of several countries. G7 means Group of Seven, and it includes Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, the United States, and even the European Union as a whole. They discuss global economic imbalances and global conflicts, as well as specifically support for Ukraine. And out of this particular summit, it was announced that a 14-point ceasefire agreement has been made with Iran and that it will be signed this weekend and read after it is signed. So we are all holding out great hope for the reality of this to unfold. Now, this agreement includes ending the U.S. blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, giving Iran the freedom to fully engage in its trade with petrochemical products. And there was even a discussion around a $300 billion development fund for Iran should it decrease its nuclear program, though this had not been finalized that we know of. In fact, we don't know a lot of what is in that agreement until it is read to the public. Now, some of the hesitancy is that in the meantime, Israel is still launching strikes on Lebanon. And of course, Ukraine has been launching strikes at Russia. So there is some negotiating to do there before there's a peace agreement in that direction. So we continue to be the EPA for global peace development in our lives. And how do we do that? Well, the E means to be an example for peace, not just an example of peace, but an example for peace. We continue to take our time that we need to be at peace in ourselves. Perhaps we can join a prayer circle for peace, or we can deepen the peaceful activity of our own personal relationships in our communications and in sharing activities with those we know and love. Then the P is passion. Passion is a heart-to-heart connection. So we don't just observe what is happening in our world and the people it is including, we actually feel. We feel that empathy and that compassion with people who are in the midst of global conflict. And we feel the joy of people celebrating global unity, as with the World Cup this week. So with passion, we connect heart to heart with people around the world. And finally, there is the A, activism. Individually or through coordinated activity, we can get engaged where our heart calls us to do so. We can join a peaceful demonstration for peace in our world if we see that being organized in our communities. We can join a writing campaign, writing to our government officials to continue to support peace in any way they can. Or we can financially support an organization that is working on peace and the greater health of human beings around the world. So example, passion, and activism, the EPA of global peace development. And we can engage ourselves with that right now through a moment of silent contemplation. So let's take a deep breath and close our eyes and contemplatively focus on this thought. I am ready to set an example of passionate commitment and to activate the work of peace in the world. I am ready to set an example of passionate commitment and to activate the work of peace in the world. And so it is. So let us become the EPA of global peace development by being an example of peace in our own lives, by feeling the passion, the empathy, the compassion, and the joy of celebration with others in our world, and by being active ourselves to make the work of peace a reality in our lives, in our communities, and for people everywhere. Thank you for joining me today in this week's EPA, and have a wonderful day.